Hi guys and welcome to Odds on Serie A. We are going to analyze the 28th match day. The fight for the Champions League is exciting in Italy. We are going to analyze all 10 games with Dani Fisichella as always, but I also want to know your opinion, so leave a comment below in the comment section and you will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. And do not forget to click on the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get all the notifications. And now let's go on with the show. New match day in the Serie A this weekend. The fight for the Scudetto is almost over, but for the Champions League is exciting. Also for the relegation. So let's analyze all 10 games with Dani Fisichella. Ciao, Dani.
Hi Edu, I don't think the fight for the Scudetto is over just yet. Juventus, I think they'll be there until the very last game, or perhaps the penultimate game. Remember, penultimate game, Juventus-Inter at the Juventus Stadium. That could be the decider.
Come on, Dani. These victories in the last minutes for Inter are getting the Scudetto closer. But let's talk later about Inter. First, we have on Friday Parma Genoa, an important game for the relegation battle. And Parma got a victory against Roma. They are now 3 points away from salvation after 3 draws in the last 4 games. We have to say that they've improved a lot. Also, these 3 draws came with the Parma team getting ahead in the scoreboard, also for 2 goals. So they were very close to win those games. And now they face Genoa, a team that drew with Udinese in the weekend. They haven't won in the last 6, 4 draws, 2 defeats. And Parma, they are favorites now, odds 2.46 for this game that is very balanced, I would say.
Parma comes on the back of 3 very good performances, only 1 win. Also, there was a defeat against Inter at home, but they certainly showed improvements. So we can say that the January transfer market has improved the team, because now has got a new front 3 of Pelé, the big man up front. Then you got the 2 Romanian, Michala and Denis Man. And out of a sudden, Parma with D'Aversa seem to have clicked. Yes, of course, they always leave the door open at the back. They are not like tight, secure, but they are collecting points, and most importantly, they are more confident. We have seen them playing with more confidence. We have seen being able to shut the goal down when needs to be. Also, a little bit of luck against Roma, that's always comes handy. And now they are facing this game thinking, well, we might even get out of the relegation zone if results come in our favor. So obviously they're gonna be very confident. Genoa, the last few performances have been disappointing. We have to say this season they only won twice away, but let's not forget the job that Ballardini has done by steadying the ship a lot. This was a team that up until a month and a half ago was in relegation zone, were leaking goals, and now they look much more solid. And for this game they will get back 2 key players, Masiello at the back and Destro up front. They come on the back of a 1-1 draw against Udinese. Udinese is always a bad client, but in the very last minute actually Genoa hit the post, had the chance to take all the 3 points undeservedly, I must say. I think Genoa will go into this game trying not to lose it, so why not going for an Asian handicap of 0 for the visitors, and that pays quite a lot, 2.32.
All right, here we have better odds for Genoa, so let's go for the Asian handicap for the visitor. Next one, Crotone Bologna. Here the favorite is the visitor with odds 2.17. Every team facing Crotone are favorites. Crotone leaking goals and goals. They lost against Lazio, but they were close to get some points out from the Olimpico. Remember, their last game at home was a victory 4-2 against Torino. And Bologna, they beat Sampdoria 3-1, but away they are not that good. In the last 10 games, only 1 victory was against Parma. Always the Ezio Shida is a good stadium, Dani, to take the 3 points.
Absolutely, and this is a game, I think, that who score 1 more goal than the other wins. I mean, obviously that's for every game, but in this sense that I think they're gonna be loads of goals. it's not going to be a 1-0 or a 2-1. Perhaps the score could be a little bit more, more expansive. Of course, one more goal you win, of course. But you want to say that Crotone wins often with teams that play in their league, 4 home victories against Torino, against Benevento, against Parma, against Spezia. So I think they step up against small teams, and Bologna away is a small team. If you look at the away table, they are 17th, so that basically is a relegation form. Crotone scored 8 in the last 3 games, and they were very close in Rome to take a point, and perhaps they deserve that. And this is another team that has improved, at least in the scoring department, after January, having brought a player like Unas, who can play as a second striker but also behind the 2 strikers, has proven to be so important. Plus they got Simi, the Nigerian, who is closer to got into double figure, which will be amazing. Bologna, they're very good at home, so be careful anytime you bet against them when they play at Atalanta. But I think sometimes away they lack this season the cutting edge. Anyone could win this. I'm not saying that Crotone or Bologna are more favorite, but I think the home team are gonna score the first of many goals. So Crotone to score first, 240.
Crotone here to score first. We continue with the relegation battle on Saturday. Spezia Cagliari. This is a very, very important one. Cagliari, they lost 1-3 against Juve, but they were better in the last game since they sacked Di Francesco with Semplici on the bench. And Spezia is a team I think that they will going to fight until the end to avoid relegation. They lost against Atalanta. Now they are winless in the last 5. The one losing this game, Danny, will get in trouble. The one winning it, they will get boost, and the odds tell us that this is a draw.
This is a massive game for both, also because at the time of recording this video, we don't know the results of Torino-Sassuolo, which is played tonight. So if Torino wins against Sassuolo, Cagliari out of a sudden are back in the relegation zone, plus Torino has another game in hand against Lazio. So, okay, things have improved for Cagliari with the new manager, with Semplici. First defeat at home of his 4-game spell against Juventus, but, clearly a mismatch of quality there. But Cagliari are still in trouble. I think, obviously, things are going better for Cagliari since Semplici took over. They are always scoring, which is important for a team that needs to get out of the relegation zone. And they come of a good away performance at Marassi, 2-2 with Genoa, with Sampdoria, not really an easy game to play. With Spezia, up and down in terms of the form at home. We all remember how well they played against Milan. They scored twice, 1-2-0, but they only kept 2 clean sheets at home. And despite playing good games against Parma and Benevento, where both times they went behind in the score sheet, they dominated the possession, but then they couldn't convert. I think again here they're gonna be plenty of goals because both teams need to win. So let's go for over 2.5, and that's at 220.
Next game, last game on Saturday, Inter Sassuolo. Inter, they are suffering in every game. But they are winning, and now they are 9 points clear in the top of the table with Milan, 10 with Juve, with 1 game in hand. Lautaro Martinez was the hero in the weekend, scoring that very good header. And now they face Sassuolo, a team that won against Hellas Verona. I don't know, Danny, are you concerned about Inter struggling, or you are happy because they know how to suffer and they are winning and winning and winning, and they are closer to the Scudetto again?
I think Inter at the moment in the table has the points that deserves. I don't think they got more points because of luck or because the way the results have gone, or maybe some referee's decision. I think they got the points they have. But it is true, recently they haven't played that great, but there is a caveat. They've been playing often in the last few weeks against teams that waited with 9-10 men behind the ball. They're closing all the spaces, like teams like Torino, like Parma. So they always struggle with these teams. They struggle early in the season when we saw them losing against Sampdoria, drawing against Udinese. And I think this time against Sassuolo, this is not the case, because Sassuolo plays expansive football, like to attack. Recently, in the game against Verona, they even played with 4 men up front, with Berardi, with Juricic, with De Frel, with Caputo. So obviously it's a team that scores a lot, and it's been start scoring 9 goals in the last 5, but also leaves spaces at the back. And we know that sometimes they overplay and they tend to concede possession in very dangerous area. Inter comes on the back of 8 straight wins, but there is a doubt because there's been a COVID case in the Inter camp this week. D'Ambrosio's got COVID. Okay, he's not a starter, but these things can unsettle sometimes the team, and they play a Sassuolo team that will play in Torino in Wednesday. So let's see what sort of formation they choose for the game at Inter. Maybe they play the best lineup against Torino, which is a more winnable game, and rest some players for Inter. Remember, if Sassuolo wins at Torino, they will be 4th in the away table. So that's, a team that you always have to fear when they visit you. Last year, Inter-Sassuolo ended 3-3 after the lockdown. It was one of the first games after the lockdown. So I'm expecting goals also, because Inter are going to have chances. They're going to have spaces. Probably they're going to collect a lot of corners, but Sassuolo can hit them on the break. Over 3.5, 220.
That's a lot of goals, actually, over 3.5, but we are used to see many goals in Serie A. On Sunday, we have Verona, Atalanta. Atalanta out of the Champions League, so Italy will not have any Italian team in the quarterfinals this season, because Lazio, I guess they will be kicked out tonight against Bayern Munich. So now Atalanta, they can focus in Serie A to qualify for the Champions League. Right now they are 4th in the standings after the victory against Spezia. They are in a good run in the Serie A, 5 victories in the last 6. But Verona is always a tough stadium, Danny. They are coming from back-to-back defeats against Sassuolo and Milan, but the Bentegodi, again, is never easy. The odds for Atalanta, 1.72.
Verona needs a reaction after 2 disappointing games, especially the defeat at Sassuolo, where they managed to bring it back to 2-2 after being behind twice, and then they conceded a very stupid goal in the last few minutes of the game from a corner. We all know that the strength of Juric's team, Juric, by the way, is going to be suspended for this game, is the defense. They need to be more tight at the back, because, as we said many times, they don't have a great goal scorers up front, although in the last few away games, at Benevento they scored 3, etc. But if they want to get a result from this, they need to be concentrated and focused, especially at the back. But they only lost 1 game in the last 5 home games against Milan, when they failed to score. Atalanta, I was disappointed with the performance as Madrid. Of course, they were not favorite to go through, but I think they lacked precision, they lacked sharpness, especially in the final third. They lacked a player that could unlock a game that for many minutes was a bit of a stalemate. I mean, they lacked probably Papu Gomez. Papu Gomez is at Sevilla, but when the game is a little bit sticky, he can't find the holes, he cannot find the spaces, you need somebody with a little bit more creativity. And at the moment, because of the bad form of Ilicic that hasn't started many games recently, I think Atalanta is suffering from that. And then there is always the doubt who's going to start, Muriel or Zapata. Gasperini even took out Muriel after he scored a wonder goal against Real Madrid. So I'm not sure they are managing this moment at the best they could. I think they're going to be tired as well, because playing against Real Madrid and not being humiliated by Real Madrid, 3-1 is a respectable score, takes a lot of mental energy and physical energy. I'm going to go for a double chance 1x this case for Verona, 230.
Probably we are too exigent with a team like Atalanta that some years ago, they were fighting against relegation, and for 2 seasons in a row they are in the Champions League. Let's see next season. Then we have Juve Benevento. Here we have to look at the Asian handicap probably for Juve because the odds are 1.24. We saw Cristiano Ronaldo scoring a hat-trick against Cagliari. Probably he's hurt after everything that has been said after the disappointing result against Porto. And Benevento is right now one of the worst teams in Serie A. They lost 1-4 against Fiorentina. They are getting closer and closer to the relegation zone. 11 winless games for them, Danny. So I think here, we should expect a lot of goals, but for Juventus.
Absolutely. Also, because if you look at the recent home form of Juventus, I think they come on the back of 6 or 7 consecutive wins. If you include even the cup competitions, there are at least 5 clean sheets between them. Now Pirlo has changed, and in Cagliari played with 4 strikers: Kulusevski, Chiesa, Ronaldo, Morata. Things worked very well, also because the way Juventus approached the game, great game, of course, from Cristiano. Will be interesting to see if he repeats this formation again and again. In this very offensive asset, the most important player is probably Kulusevski, who needs to play behind the strikers in midfield and do all the running and all the work. Juventus are obviously favorite, as I said, to win this game. As I said before, they're not giving up on the title chases yet. They are 10 points behind, and actually they come on this game with a bit of a boost because they should have had a game against Napoli on Wednesday. They managed to find an agreement with Napoli and postpone it for the 7th of April, so they will be even more rested to play this game and then play Napoli after the break. That could be really important. Obviously, we need to see in which conditions then the many players who go with the national teams come back, if there are injuries or not, because that again could change everything. For Benevento, I mean, maybe it's a bit early to say, but I think they look doomed. They look doomed because they play a Fiorentina team that normally doesn't travel that well. They don't score that much, and they conceded goals from situations that were absolutely avoidable. They conceded 10 goals in the last 4, and even worse, for this game they're gonna miss 2 very important players, Schiattarella and Glick at the back. So Juventus Asian handicap -2, 2.07.
Yeah, even been a little bit cautious, because we should expect probably more goals from Juve. Then we have Sampdoria Torino. You mentioned before how Torino have tonight a game in hand against Sassuolo. They played way better against Inter than in Crotone. They seem to recover from COVID and they can get out of the relegation zone. This game is also important against Sampdoria, a team that is struggling right now. They lost 3-1 against Bologna, 5 winless games. Probably they are not motivated. They have absolutely nothing to play for until the end of the season. So it's a good opportunity, Danny, probably to get a double chance for Torino, or to think that Torino can get some points out of Genoa.
Absolutely. Torino are I think they're favorite in this game because they got something to play for, whereas we saw with Sampdoria, the problem is when some teams get to this stage of the season with absolutely nothing to play for because they are obviously saved, they sometimes approach the game in the wrong way, and we saw it in a few weeks. And remember, this is a Sampdoria team that up to February was hard to beat. They beat Inter, then they traveled to Roma and gave Roma a good fight despite losing. Now they seem a different team. Only 1 win in the last 7 for Sampdoria. Torino will have some very important players back because they had COVID in the last 3-4 weeks, and with Inter they were still missing Singo, one of the best right backs in the league. Then they were missing Belotti, only came for the last few minutes, and despite that they managed to stick to the game plan for almost 85 minutes, shutting Inter down and then letting a late goals. This is a game because Torino needs the point, and Sampdoria, they're not being that steady at the back. Again, I think I'll go for the goals market. Obviously, the double chance for Torino, as you mentioned, is an option, but I go for the goals market. Over 2.5, 2.14.
2.14. Then we have Udinese, Lazio. Here is Lazio, the one that have something to play for. They are playing in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. Let's see which team Inzaghi is putting on the field, because they should be focused more on the Serie A to get an European spot. They celebrated a lot the victory against Crotone with a late goal scored by Caicedo. They were coming from 2 defeats in a row, but traveling right now to Udine, Dani, is not easy. Undefeated in the last 5 games at home. I think this one is going to be a very, very tough one for Lazio.
Absolutely, and for a Lazio team that struggled to score, don't take into account the 3 goals against Crotone. I mean, they were playing the bottom of the league team. This is a team that when the key players, and we said it many times, don't click or they are injured, they don't have enough resources on the bench. I think Inzaghi has got good 11 players, maybe a couple of them are outstanding, but then when he looks behind him and see who can come from the bench, doesn't have many options to change the game. One of them is, of course, Caicedo, who seems to do better when he doesn't start the game, but will he be given a chance ahead of Correa or maybe ahead of Immobile? Because at the moment, the Golden Boot winner of last year, he hasn't scored in a month and a half. Let's see what he does tonight in Munich. Maybe he should even be rested, because the game in Munich is basically lost, is gone. There's no chance of qualifying. Immobile needs a rest. I think they'll struggle against Udinese, because Udinese also has collected 4 consecutive clean sheets. They also had a draw early in the year against Atalanta, only 1-1 when Atalanta was flying. And again, they come on the back of a very good results in Genoa. I think Udinese is one of the most improved team since the beginning of the season, playing a 3-5-2, very compact, good defense. Everyone seems to know their role. The only problem with Udinese, they're not a goal machine. Again, they don't score enough and they don't create enough. But I think on this one, they're going to take the lead. So Udinese to score first, 2-40.
Then we have Fiorentina, Milan. Fiorentina, I think all Viola supporters are now breathing and more relaxed after the victory against Benevento, with Vlahovic scoring a hat-trick, 12 goals for Vlahovic this season. Now they are 9 points far from the relegation zone, ending a really bad run for them. And they face Milan, who can be tired after playing the Europa League against Man United. They lost at home. They have to keep an eye on the 5th, I think, right now, rather than in Inter Milan. But we know how good this team travel. They are way better on the road than at home. That's why the odds are favorable for Milan, 2.26.
Absolutely, and so many times we have said Milan are done, Milan are gonna start losing, Milan are, got no chances, and then they proved us wrong time and time again. And remember, 17 wins out of 20 away games, it's not by chance. This is one of the best away record probably in Europe for a Milan team that we always said has got team spirit, has got resources, has got fighting spirit. And against Napoli, they were a touch unlucky. I think they should have deserved at least a point. There was a clear penalty on Theo Hernandez at the last minute. So don't look just at the score lines and think Milan are going down the table. Also, we still have in the eyes the good performance that they did at Old Trafford against a team that is obviously better than them. See what happens. I mean, man by man, of course. Let's see what happens on Thursday on the return game. They might have Ibrahimovic back for this game, finally, after a big absence. And they play a Fiorentina team that whose morale is going to be very high. Best performance under Prandelli this year. But they played, again, a weak team, a Benevento team that opened the door for them. And sometimes against the big teams, Fiorentina are still stuttering, making too many mistakes in both boxes. I don't know. I don't trust the home team, so I'm gonna go for an Asian handicap minus 0.5 for Milan, which pays 214. So if Milan wins by 1 goal, you win the bet.
Yeah, we said against Verona and against Roma that Milan will drop points playing on the road, and they won because they are very good on the road. Then the last game, Il Derby del Sole. I love that name for this Roma and Napoli. There is a big rivalry between these two teams, and now they are fighting for the Champions League spots, which is burning in Serie A. Roma coming from the defeat against Parma, but we know how good they are in the Olimpico and how bad they are against top teams. And Napoli, they beat Milan, but we know how they struggle away from home. Only this victory in San Siro. So there are reasons to back Roma, to back Napoli, and the odds tell us that the draw is actually the most likely thing to happen.
Absolutely. I mean, if you got more money to spend, or if you had a good gain in the last few weeks, probably you have to put your units in each single outcome and try to work out what the sure bet is. Obviously, go on the Oddspedia website and you can work that out with our tools. But if we look at the recent form, I think Napoli, when they realize, and it takes them a bit of time, that they play better when they play on the counter attack, they sit deep and hit you on the counter. That's when they do the best football. They cannot go against their own nature. They cannot go against the nature of their own manager. This is a team built to play on the counter attack, and that's exactly what they did at Milan, and that's why they got the success. Plus, having the key players back, Mertens, Osimhen, Fabian Ruiz, you can tell they're already making a difference. Roma started being nervous. This is the time of the season when things in Roma start becoming a little bit unsettled, and we see it time and time again. And the game at Parma showed that sometimes, when Fonseca, again, he's got the same issue sometimes like Inzaghi. The two teams in Roma got the same issue. They don't have enough good players on the bench. They got very strong 11. I think man for man, Milan, Roma and Napoli, they got the same 11. The quality is the same there with the 11. But when the substitutes come in, or they have to play because of injuries, fatigue, then that's where Roma start losing consistency, start losing the way of playing. And they approach this game without Veretout, already 10 goals in the league, and it's so important in midfield. We'll see if Smalling is back. Dzeko has been out of the team because of an injury, and they travel on Thursday to Ukraine. We still don't know what the result is going to be, but it's going to be a tough, demanding game against a team that will try to score as many as possible to qualify. I think Roma, as I said in the Europa League video, which is available on YouTube, of course, Roma will qualify, but they will struggle. I'm going to go for an Asian handicap 0 for the visitors, which doubles your money. So Napoli Asian handicap 0 too.
And we even forgot now that Zaniolo, the best player for Roma, he's been out of the competition for the whole
season.
So, yeah. So, well, this is a very interesting one for sure and very difficult to predict. Roma, Napoli. Then, Danny, we can make an ACCA. You said that you were very close in the Europa League one. Also, you nailed some results.
There've been some very close one, but close one doesn't win you anything. So let's go again. Crotone 1x, double chance for Crotone 1x. Verona Atalanta under 2.5 goals. Juventus to win both halves. Sampdoria and Torino both to score. Napoli and Roma, actually Roma-Napoli, both to score, and the total odds is 28.06.
Perfect. Then, Danny, let's enjoy Serie A. Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you, Edu. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
We have Danny's ACCA, we have Danny's prediction, so it's your time to place your bets, and also it's your time to leave a comment in the video. You will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet, and do not forget to click on the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get all the notifications. Also, you can listen to all our videos in our podcast, and we will be back in a couple of weeks with more odds on Serie A. See ya!